amazing viewers. Thank you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you are connecting from. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you so much and remain blessed. Whenever you look my video, whenever you watch my video, share the video to all platforms. Share it to family and friends. Share it in your WhatsApp group so that people can get information on what is happening in the contraption called Nigeria, mainly against the Biafrans, against the Duduas, against the indigenous people in the contraption called Nigeria. I try as much as possible to set the record straight. I don't preach hate speech. I don't speak against people. I set the record straight. The only important thing I do here is to make sure that the plight of the people remains on the front burner and the world will know the true story of what is going on in the contraption called Nigeria. Remember, they will always change the narrative. The government will always try as much as possible to use the conventional media to change the narrative, but that I will not allow. In this platform, we'll set the record straight and we'll say it the way it is. Not preaching hate speech, not by talking down to anybody, but setting the record straight and bringing the information to the front burner and letting the world know the exact situation of things. Each time you watch my video, you can equally go to the comment section, put down your comment, say it the way you feel it. It's so welcome. You can criticize if you so desire, but do it constructively so that we can be able to learn from one another. That is why I'm here. And now, I'm going to share with you a very important video. I hope after watching the video from the beginning to the end, you're going to enjoy the video and you continue to stick around and be able to enjoy the rest videos that are going to be coming your way from time to time. Thank you so much for coming. Today, the video I'm going to share with you is a very important video.
Ndewo Ndebo, Ahambo, Bishop T.D. Jakes. Anam na BBC News Igbo. To the Igbo people, I'm deeply delighted and grateful to have this opportunity to spend a few moments sharing with you. And learning more about you has been something that has fascinated me very much.
All right. So we are delighted to have you on our platform. And we just want to ask, how did this whole Igbo thing come about? We heard in the news some time back that you traced your roots to be from the Igbo people. How did that come about? Why did you even go that far to start tracing your roots?
So it all started when Henry Louis Gates, who was at Harvard, decided to do this DNA testing to see where my ancestry came from. And so it was me, it was Oprah Winfrey, it was Quincy Jones and several other people who participated in the initial study. And mine traced back to Western Africa and to Nigeria in particular, and the Igbo my ancestors were Igbos. And so it was fascinating. And oddly enough, I was the only one that was tested that was full-blooded African.
Wow. Wow. So how did that
That's very rare.
How did that make you feel?
Oh, it's indescribable. Yeah. It gives us something that we as African-American people don't have, which is roots. As Alex Haley would say, it gave me a better understanding of my roots. It's very interesting how similar I am personality-wise to how Igbo people are described. It explains some things to me about myself that was very fascinating. And my sons and my daughters have all started studying ancestry and about Igbos and about more and more about Africa as I like to say, close the Middle Passage and reconnect with our brothers and sisters from over there.
All right. So do you have like a direct connection, or maybe you have someone that introduces you to how Igbo people do things? Do you have someone you are in direct connection with that is Igbo?
Everybody who's Igbo that I run into in America will always talk to me and teach me little things that help me to understand. Lacan has been quite helpful, and I'm still in the learning process, but I find it all very, very fascinating.
Great. So what's the most fascinating thing you have seen about Igbo people? I know you have done deep research on them. So what is it that you have found about Igbo people that you are happy about to be identified with them?
Well, they're described as being hardworking and industrious, innovative, with a strong business acumen. I deeply relate to that. Upwardly mobile people, progressive in their thinking. It explained to me. It's odd that I was never born there, and yet I see so many traces of that. I've always been entrepreneurial. I've always had a strong business acumen. I've always been aggressive in business as well as in faith. And though I'm more well known over there for the faith aspect of it, I own several companies. I've always had my own resources, and it just explained the way that I think to me.
Okay, so did you finding out that you are Igbo have any effects on you as a person and the way you do things? Did it have like any impact on you?
Well, my great grandmother was born a slave. She died when I was 10 years old, and so our family stories had passed down from the moments the boat landed, and this just confirmed what our family story had verbally and in writing form been passed down to us as well. I think it gives you it. It's hard to explain the hole that fills up. To to know a little bit more about where you came from. One of the terrible tragedies of the transatlantic slave trade is not just that we were taken from our home and from our culture and from our people and from our food, but we lost our history. And history, African American history, is taught over here from the times the boat landed. And then we assumed a name that does not define us. So Jakes is actually a German name, and it only signifies who owned my ancestors. So to reach beyond the boats and beyond the chains, and to touch a soil where I came from, and was in fact free, and to understand that my ancestors were something before they were a slave, is extremely gratifying, and really confirms why I have such fascination with the continent of Africa and always have. My whole house is decorated with African art. I always wanted to see what success looked like in my color, and in this country that growing up as a boy, that was a rarity. And so most of my house has African art in it. I often wear African attire. Agbadas, when I preach, I find them very comfortable. I have all kinds of them, and people send them to me from everywhere. So I often preach in them, and I have a huge following in Lagos, Nigeria, and even above Dallas, and then Nairobi, Kenya, and then Atlanta. So it's pretty global, but I have a strong constituency in South Africa and Mozambique, and so we talk back and forth. So when I'm in Nigeria, I experience the food, and so I'll eat the fufu and the jollof rice and have those kinds of experiences, and it's really nice to me, really nice. Oh, I probably had more than I can name, because I go to Ghana quite often, Accra, and I go to Lagos quite often, and some of it I don't even know the names of. What I have learned about the food is that it is almost always hot and spicy, and and so I've been trying to duplicate the spice. You cannot find that particular type of spice in the United States. So now I'm trying to get our oxtail to taste like yours. Uh, yeah. But the thing about it, I ate it before, but oxtail over there is so hot it makes your head sweat. And I liked it. I liked it. So I'm trying to imitate it. I haven't been able to do it, but I try.
Right. All right. So let's talk about the governance in Africa, and I don't know if you follow the politics in Africa, in Nigeria particularly.
Just a little.
Okay. So if you follow it, you would know that the Igbo people have been fighting for secession from Nigeria. And there was the civil war in 1967, that's like 50 years ago. And
Yes.
since the civil war, the Igbo people have been trying to fight for self-determination, for their own states in Nigeria. And I wanted to know what you think about the whole scenario, watching from outside and looking at what is going on and the whole agitation by the Igbo people, what you think about it and how the Igbo people are managing the whole situation. What do you
I would be reluctant to go too far in giving advice on a political matter of that magnitude. I think it's very, very important that the people who address it are the people who live in that environment. Having said that, I still think that every people need to have representation on the highest level of government, whether that is through a democracy that includes representation for all people, or whether that is independence is to be determined by the people themselves. But I deeply respect and understand that there is a passion amongst many Igbos to recede from Nigeria and to develop their own influence and culture and so forth. And I think that we are still grappling with the after effects of colonialism and trying to my understanding of colonialism, you had superimposed upon you one way of looking at yourselves that were totally different from how you had seen yourselves before. And consequently, colonialism in some ways affected you like slavery did us. And so we're still trying to untangle ourselves from the after effects of some of the atrocities that did not dignify us with a deeper understanding of how we choose to see ourselves. They were more interested in the land than the people. And so they divided up the land at the expense of the people. And I think we're still trying to overcome that. And I say we because we were there too. And at the end of the day, we need to find a way to re-understand ourselves beyond white supremacy and dominance and colonialism, and reconnect as a African family, regardless to what tribe we are.
So how do you perceive governance in Africa generally, not particular to Nigeria now? Governance in Africa, in East Africa, West Africa, North Africa, and South Africa?
There has been a struggle there. You know, there has been a struggle here in having the kind of governance that really makes the inroads that we would like to see made for the everyday person. I am heartened and encouraged by some of the presidents over there who have extended to African Americans in recognition of the 1619 and the 400 years of slavery, the welcome mat of coming home. There are some interesting discussions being had about waiving visas and giving dual citizenship, which is deeply meaningful. I cannot even explain to you how deeply meaningful that is to many African Americans. And I think that consequently you will see a greater influx of African Americans who are actually moving into places like Ghana and Nigeria and even into Kenya and different places like that. And it is because it is starting to be perceived that we are welcome there. And that is to a people who have been homeless for 400 years in so many ways, that gives you a sense of identity beyond your national borders. I'm proud to be an American. I love this country, but because of the history and the way that we came here, my culture is not always celebrated here. So to have the culture celebrated and to have the opportunity to have some duality is quite fulfilling.
So would you want to have Nigerian citizenship?
Would I want to what?
Would you want to be a citizen of Nigeria, be given citizenship? Would you want to even apply for citizenship if you would you want to do that?
What I would like to see, I think whatever presidents open up the door where they provide dual citizenships for African Americans is definitely going to get a response. Because I travel back and forth over there quite often, it would simplify the whole process. And to be honest with you, there's a huge opportunity for Africans of all parts of the continent and African Americans to come together for business, for prosperity. I was planning to host at Martha's Vineyard, which is an area where a lot of prominent African Americans meet in August. I was planning to host this year a intercontinental summit for Africans, Caribbean leaders, and African Americans to discuss ways in which we can do business, we can trade, we can close the Middle Passage and reconnect as an African family. And I think from a business and economic perspective, the time is now. And it is accentuated by the fact that we have the kind of technology that makes it possible for me to be sitting in Dallas, Texas, and talking to you in Nigeria. That was an opportunity our parents and our grandparents did not have. But I don't think that we are using those opportunities to their fullest capacity to create trade and aid and assistance and cultural awareness. And sometimes when we are dealing with pandemics such as the types that we are dealing with now, it creates an opportunity for us to have dialogue. We have adopted a hospital in Kenya, and we're able to send ventilators to that hospital. We have more reasons to be together than we do to be divided. We have dug quite a few boreholes in different parts of Africa and built houses, particularly in South Africa. I think we are better together than we are apart.
But there's that movement now in America, specifically, where some people are saying some people are more African than others. Some people are black. I don't know if you have come across that. So there's that divide amongst the African American and Africans now, where African Americans are saying that, you know what, Africans didn't go through what we went through, and they can't come here and be who we are or take our space. This is our space. So, and you're now seeing the fight between brothers, people that are supposed to work together, make things work. There's that divide, there's that struggle, and we are making each other uncomfortable. How do you see that?
I think that is fading away. I think that education and information and conversations like this help to dispel some of the biases that are inherent. I would want your audience to know that we are not monolithic, that all African Americans do not think the same, no more than all Nigerians think the same. And so the comments of a few do not represent the sentiments of us all. And the final thing that I think is a very strong conduit is I think that the church has a tremendous opportunity to be a bridge. We sing each other's music. We wear each other's clothes. We have a deep, let me tell you something, every African American I know went to see Black Panther. And you can't tell them that there's not a Wakanda somewhere in Africa. So, and they all were dressed in African clothes. So the tension is not nearly as thick as you would think. Or we wouldn't have been in every theater in America dressed in African clothes saying Wakanda forever. So we need something that you have, and you need something that we have. As technology progresses and there's a greater demand, for example, for workforce, and Africa has some of the largest amounts of emerging workforce of any other continent in the world, young people who can fulfill the demand for STEM jobs. Over the next 15 years or so, 80% of the jobs.
Thank you so much for your patience to watch from the beginning to the end. I hope you have learned something from the video you have just watched. The video you have just watched is to bring information to your doorstep and for educational purpose. It is not to demonize anybody. Let us watch continuously and see who can be able to make a sense out of every nonsense we are seeing. We must continue. We move. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter what they say. They will kill us. We will kill them. At the end of the day, Biafra is here. Thank you for watching. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please kindly subscribe to the channel. Click the notification bell so that you're notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. Thank you, and remember this. Bye-bye. See you again.